All right, good evening, everybody. Today is February the 10th, 2022, and we are on our second conference call with Chris Hauser, and I am your host, Tad. I run the website youhavetheright.com, and I'll be putting up these calls right now temporarily at TalkShoe, and I'll send the link out so you can catch the recordings. But I'm also going to take these calls and break them up by subject and put them in my member section. So if you guys want to help support me to help support you by becoming a member, that would be fantastic. But everything that Chris does here, it's done for free. What I do is I take the calls and I break them up by subject and make them easier to find what you're looking for. Otherwise, all the calls and recordings are free. So, Chris, what you got for us tonight?
All right. Good evening, folks. It's good to be here. I enjoyed last week's conversation. It was really good. There's a few things that have happened this week since I was on there last. I uploaded the videos explaining the conditional acceptance and their parts. I also uploaded a couple of videos on the the claims of liens and how to monetize them. And that's been pretty good. There's been a lot of good questions asked about those. Those of you that've seen the videos, you're fully aware of the power of these things. The conditional acceptance is common law lien or common law contract via the postal rule. What it creates is a notice of lien. It's a contract that's powerful. I've told quite a few people so far that when this whole thing started, the video started, I was sovereign shutting down the municipal corporation. The way that I was allowed to do that was by a common law contract that I had with a mutual friend. We used gold coins to transfer the property. And the reason that that's so powerful is when you have a contract, common law contract between two sentient beings, that is extremely powerful. It's more powerful than the Constitution is. The Constitution's a contract, but it's only a contract between sentient beings and a fictitious entity known as the United States government, or whatever you want to prefer to call it. It doesn't have as much power as the contract that me and you have together, Tad. Those contracts are powerful, and that's why the conditional acceptance is powerful, because you're going to contract with these people that made you an offer, and they're going to agree, and they're going to agree as they're human, they're sentient beings, with you. Very powerful. In the conditional acceptance, you also witness the attorney generals. So the attorney generals, acting as their sentient being and as their fictitious entity, act as your witness. They become your witness. And just the power in that document is going to change a lot of things once everyone starts to wrap their head around the concept of this thing. It's a powerful document. It's made to move. It's made to move people, and it's gotten one in trouble. Actually, it's gotten a bunch of trouble. The Supreme Court hearing is going to be April the 6th in Nashville. They had 5 justices 3 female justices and 2 male justices, and back in September, one of the female justices passed away. So they've had quite a few ties. That's one reason that the lawyer is saying that they moved us out. They're not going to hear any arguments next month, and because they're giving the new individual that's coming in to sit on the Supreme Court, which is a female, a conservative female, and the governor's picked her out. So with this new justice, Tennessee Supreme Court has now became 3 conservative to 2 liberals, where before it was 3 liberals and 2 conservatives. So we're really seriously looking at this verdict being overturned. That's why I mentioned I'd like to come out west this summer, because by then this is all going to be over. One of my friends, he got his parole. He made his parole, and he should be home within 2 or 3 weeks. And but I firmly believe that this is going to be overturned. And
so,
yeah, go ahead.
Is this in relation to the conditional acceptance?
Yeah. See, this whole thing that happened with us, the alleged bogus trial. I say that because we were never served warrants, indictments. We were never arraigned. We were never allowed into the trial. We never seen a jury. Jury never seen us. They walked this through their system, and now they're stepping in it. They had to get us to stop doing this because of what it does. The whole trial wasn't about right and wrong or just or unjust. It was about we need to stop these guys from doing what they're doing. You can't do to us what we've been doing to you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The government will put a lien on your property, lickety split. But the minute you start liening them, oh no, you can't do that. That's basically what we did. We did these multi-million-dollar liens on all these public officials, and that made them mad. It really did. We can't be having these guys do this stuff. Hey man, who ripped off the thing I ripped off, man? That's kind of what it was. They did that to us and violated us. It's completely violating. It's probably the closest I could feel violated to a rape. The way they've done me. You're brought up to believe that you're a good American and for God and country and go into a war and get shot at and catch pieces of fragmentation and I'm doing this for right. I'm doing this for God and country. And then you find out that it's not what you think it is. And then you start to buck the system, and they forget all about you. Let me tell you something, folks. A month, not even a month, maybe 2 months. I can't remember exactly when. But after their alleged conviction, 2 flags showed up at my house, addressed to me. And they were flags that were taken down from the Capitol building and sent to me. There's 365 days in a year, and the Tennessee flag and the American flag goes on top of the Capitol in Nashville, and then the flag comes down, it's folded up, and it's given to a Tennessean. So the year that I had my rights completely raped from me, slammed in prison, and for committing an alleged crime. Right afterwards, I get flags sent to my house. Capital flags are what they're called. Yeah. I was one of 35 people in the state of 8 or 9 million people that got got a set of capital flags. Yeah, how's that? We honor you, Christopher Hauser, for your dedication and service to. Yeah, you ought to see it. I got certificates from the governor, signed by the governor. We honor your sacrifice to our state. And the reason that I got the flag is because that year I wrote almost 3 times more claims for veterans than any other service officer in the state. Every county has its own veteran service officer. Every county in the state has a veteran service officer. In my time volunteering with the DAV and writing claims for veterans, I did almost 3 times more than the next guy, the next highest guy. I wrote claims like crazy that year. I went all over East Tennessee. I went to people's in other counties and went to people's houses and wrote claims, helped them get claims. I brought in over $1 million in benefits in just 1 year for veterans. So, and here I am getting these flags, thank you for your service to our state, while they're totally shitting me of my rights. So, I actually considered burning them, having a burning ceremony and burning them. But then I started to think about it. My son was really proud. He was really proud of that. So I changed my mind. It was something I had to go through. And that was really fascinating. I actually showed those certificates to the parole officer. The day I went in front of the parole board, I said, "Yeah, check this out." I was in state custody, getting flagged. Yeah, you reckon the government would have done this if if he knew I was in state custody? So that was something. But that's what they are. They're very powerful. They're a very powerful document. You can move. It's that mountain. It's that mountain that, the Messiah said that we would move. Say to the mountain, move. And it will uproot and move for you. That's what that document will do. It will raise mountains, folks. And that's where we're going with this. The 1099As, people are crazy fascinated with them. But the fact of the matter is, it's the conditional acceptance. You really want to be rejected by the dealership. You really want to be rejected because that gives you the opportunity to do that. Also, the mortgage companies. Think about that. If you bias the mortgage company because you sent them a conditional acceptance, they owe you $3 million. How is it they're going to foreclose on you? How are they going to foreclose on you? They owe you money. They're claiming that you owe them money. You owe us $75,000 for that house. The rest of the house you haven't paid for. Yeah, but you owe me $8 million. I tell you what, I will give you your $75,000 out of my $8 million you give me. That's happening a lot now. I keep getting these calls. Someone called my house. A lady called my house today. Called my phone. Didn't say nothing. And that happens quite a bit around here. Usually they're a 1-800 number, and they don't say nothing. So after a little while, I said, damn, at least you could do is talk dirty to me. About that time, a woman came on and, said who she was. But I got to talking to her. She's living in a house. She's a woman of darkness. And she is living in a house that belonged to her great-grandmother. And the police came in, the city came in on her, and had the police remove her from her house because she had leaky pipes. And she was asking me how she could get the house out of the registration. And we had a nice long talk. And, normally I really want to put people on blast when they call my house like that because I haven't given you the number to call. But when I hear someone speaking their voice, and I can tell that, this lady's lost. She's scared, and she's asking me for help. I guess my wife will just have to get over it. But she called and talked, and she said, what can I do? Check this out. The city's offering to pay to fix the pipes in her house, right, and let her move back in. But they're going to put a $26,000 lien on the house. This is a house that she owns flat out. She's got no mortgage on it or nothing like that. And my advice to her was, go put $1 million lien on your house. That's the quickest way. That's the only thing that I can think of when I've had half a dozen people call me this week. I'm going into foreclosure, man, in like 2 weeks. What can I do? Well, here's one thing. Here's the only thing I think that you can do to actually slow that down. Go to the UCC and put a $1 million lien on that property. That property owes you $1 million now. And I told her, I said, look, if they're going to do that, let them do that. And as soon as they put the $26,000 lien on your property, put a $1 million lien on it. That'll butt them right out of it. And that I honestly believe that'll work. That's the quickest fix for a foreclosure. If it hasn't gone into foreclosure yet, go down there and put a multi-million-dollar lien on the property. Because if your lien's a higher lien than their lien, guess who gets paid first? The one that's owed the most. So we had a nice little talk, and she felt a lot better after we got done talking, and, it ended up being a nice phone call, but that happens. It happens. Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
The conditional acceptance, you say these people got in trouble for it. What is the danger for the average person doing this?
Not knowing. It's the same danger that confronts you every time you go in to the tribunals, not knowing what it really is. The reason the state of Tennessee is in the position they are with us is because we knew exactly what they were doing. We knew that it wasn't us that was actually charged, and that it's all a commercial trust action. If it's all a commercial trust action, same thing with your foreclosure. It's a commercial transaction. You're the beneficiary of that commercial transaction. You go in there and you start making, Mr. Hauser, how do you plead? I don't. Why? Why don't I? Because I can't. I cannot plead for the trust. I am the beneficiary. I can't make decisions for the trust. That's when the judge says, well, we'll make one for you. We're going to plead not guilty. Okay. You just made a decision for the trust and a fiduciary obligation. You had best do what's best for the trust. The judge is in malfeasance of office in our case, which is a felony. It's a felony. It's a class E at best. So that's where she's at. Where the trouble comes in at is for the guys like that went in with us that took deals. Check it out. There was 10 of us that went in. 7 went in front of one judge and 3 in front of another. Right? So they had 7 3 out of the 10 right away. And they were probably the 3 that they thought they could get to cop a plea. And they did. When they went in there in front of this judge to do their plea deal, the judge told them, you sign this plea agreement and you sign it like a normal person would sign it. I don't want you putting any of that beneficiary shit on this contract. And he made those guys sign that contract with an authorized representative signature. Look, if there's no basis in a beneficiary signature, why would he have cared whether or not they signed that way? Those guys signed an agreement, a contractual agreement with the state of Tennessee, agreeing what they did was a crime. Okay? Right after that happened, the feds could have came in and picked every one of those 3 up. And they may still do that. Well, they won't pick one up because he's dead. He died last year, 84 years old. Yeah, he was an old guy. He was 78 years old when we got hit. They had him on a blood thinner, right? He couldn't do Coumadin. He had to be on a different kind of blood thinner. They wouldn't give it to him. So they made him he had to take Coumadin. He went through a roll of toilet paper with a bloody nose. They finally had to take him to the hospital because this guy was bleeding out at 79 years old. He ended up taking a plea and getting out. Those guys could be picked up. John, his son John is still alive. Could be picked up as soon as the Supreme Court overturns. Because what they did is they admitted that what we did, or they did, like what we did, was they admitted that it was a crime. Now the Treasury could come in and the Feds could come in and charge them guys with a securities fraud. Okay? And that's what I'm saying, Tad. If you don't know what you're doing with this stuff, yeah. Next thing you know, you're signing a contract with the Fed saying that that you agree that you've done a securities fraud. That's what those guys could be looking at. Us, on the other hand, we went and played a total of what they expected one to do, and now the state's in trouble. So is doing the conditional acceptance claim, is that risky, or is it filing liens that's risky? Well, that's the thing, though. By definition, you don't file the liens. The Treasury does. They could get the Feds could get the guys that cop the pleas, the guilty pleas, on securities fraud because they've already agreed that they filed these liens. When I beat this case in tax court, the reason that I did that was because they said that the liens that we filed were fraudulent. I argued that they wasn't fraudulent. And if they was fraudulent, the contracts that I had from the Treasury were in agreement that the Secretary of the Treasury had actually filed the lien. So when I say you're doing a conditional acceptance, in all actuality, you're not liening anybody. What you're doing is you're creating a lien security that Treasury is taking in. Okay, you're starting to break up. I don't know if you moved into another room or what. But if you don't know this, if you get yourself wrapped around this, they're going to turn around and they're going to scare you up like they did Brian Snow, They didn't get him. They got him in the federal side. They got him in the federal side for tax evasion because he did his conditional acceptance on $150,000.
Okay, hold on. The last thing we heard was $150,000, and then you broke up.
Oh.
I don't know if you moved into another room or what.
No, I didn't. I'm turning around here to get
there you
myself
go.
a little
Right
focused.
now is perfect.
Yeah. It's kind of how it was the last time. I get around my desk and it's not whatever. But Brian Snow, he was one of the guys who they got him in federal court. He did the same thing we did. He liened Tim Burchett. Well, he did the lien securities against the congressman, Tim Burchett, just like we did. But the feds told the state or asked the state if they would drop or dismiss the charges that they had on him because the feds wanted to pick him up because what he did is he did the conditional acceptance on federal judges. And they brought two federal prosecutors in from Washington, D.C. to Knoxville to do his thing. And they ended up scaring him into signing a plea deal. He got 30 months of Fed time. But see, he agreed to that. Like the guys that took pleas, they agreed to it. We didn't agree to it, and look where we're at. Some of the guys are locked up. Well, I'm the only one that isn't. One guy's coming home in the next couple of weeks. 5 years. He's done 5 years, and Tennessee is yet to put one single piece of paper in his hands saying that they got the right to do anything.
Right.
How often do you hear somebody going through, charges and jail time and a conviction and the sentencing and, get sent off into state custody and don't have any paperwork? So yeah.
So we do have a number of people piling up in the queue that have questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian, we're going to pick on you first.
Well, good evening, guys. Quite an interesting story.
Huh?
I said quite an interesting story. It's great. Okay, on this here, I'm going to talk about the 1099. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, my understanding is when I do a 1099 to purchase anything, whatever it may be, I would always use the Treasury as the lender and I'm the borrower. And of course, I just put the money in and what the description of it is. And then the Treasury, they do all the rest of papers, which would be a 1099, 96, and 1040V. Is that what I see on that one?
You got the 1099A straight. I know everybody seems to want about this. So let me just break this down, okay? The Treasury is always the lender. Why? Because the Treasury is the bank. You, the sentient being in the human name with the hyphens and the colons and the beneficiary, you are the borrower. What you are doing is borrowing from your own trust. If you look at box 5 on the 1099A, it says check here or something like that if you intend to repay this. Look, they're giving you an option to repay it or not. Okay? That's why it's yours. If it wasn't yours to do this with, or the trust wasn't set up for you to do this with, that wouldn't be an option. The box would already be checked for you, friends.
Okay.
That you're going to repay this. you're going to get into the trust. Well, not you, but the vendor or the trustee. That's what they do. If you read the directions on the 1099A, 1099C, the fictitious entities that must file these things, look at what they are. They're government agencies. They're financial institutions, right? That's who must file it. Why? Why must they file it? Because they're all going to be acting in trusteeship. They're going to be in a position of a trustee to file this against the beneficiary. So the 1099A, the borrower is always the you or the human or whatever, sentient being, whatever you want to call yourself. The lender is always the treasury because they are the bank. Okay? So on to the other documents. The other documents, the OID, the 1096, and the 1040B, those are all filled out by the trustees, by the court, by the financial institution, by the military, by the postal. All those people in the description and the instructions that say must file. Those are the ones that are going to do that. And you can be included in that as a trustee. Just simply by taking trusteeship. The 1099A has the Social Security account number on it. As soon as you accept a beneficiary's 1099A, you will become a trustee in the trust by accepting that. So when you send them to the finance companies, the credit card companies, and stuff like that, they, as soon as they open it up and they put that 1099A in their hand, they have accepted that they are a trustee in the trust. Most of the time they already are because they have your Social Security number. Now, they can take that. They'll be the ones to take that 1099A. They'll take the 1099A and they'll file it along with the OID, the 96, and the 40V. The OIDs and the 96s, you must get them from the IRS, or you can get them from Staples, or you can get them from Office or Office Max, or whatever it is. You'll buy them there. You go there and get them. You'll buy them. What I'm seeing right now, folks, is even those guys are out of the 1099As. You'll have a hard time getting them from the IRS. I ordered mine from the IRS because I was in there just messing around trying to prove to somebody that you can go into the IRS's website. If you go in there and you look under business forms in the IRS, or getting those IRS forms as a business, then you'll go in there and you'll be able to order those forms. They're on back order. But the trustees filed the other documents. Say Tad hired me to build his porch, his deck on the back. I'm pretty good at building decks. I'm not that good at building houses, but I can build some decks. So Tad goes, "Hey, Chris, I want you to build my deck for me. Here's the 1099A. He'll fill it out. He's going to be the borrower. The IRS or the Treasury is going to be the lender, and then I'm going to take his 1099A, and I'm going to fill out the OID, the 96, and the 40V. I'm going to send that all to the Treasury. If you'd rather have it deposited into a bank account, you can send a nice little note that's notarized, a nice little letter that's notarized with it, saying, look, I would like for this check to be direct deposited into this account. And that's what they'll do. Too many people out there are trying to be the borrower or be the beneficiary and then turn around and be the trustee. You can't do that.
Okay.
And when you see in my videos, when you see the 1096, you see that I've signed it, and then my title is beneficiary. The reason that 1096 is like that is because I created lien securities. Okay? And then what I did is I sent those to the Treasury. Now, the Treasury has the property. That's what the assignment document does. It assigns those lien securities to the Treasury. They have 100% of the property. Now they are the ones that are the beneficiary of the money. Okay? So I'm not any longer the beneficiary when they hold the title to the property. That's why I put beneficiary in that. But if you're doing a 1099 or if you're doing a 1096, you can put beneficiary in there as the title, or you can put Mr. in there as the title, or Doctor in there as the title, or Minister as the title. You can leave it blank. But if you put beneficiary in there, you're still okay because you're the beneficiary of the check. That's how that all works, folks. I hope that answered your question.
It did, but I have one more. And that question is, if I had a foreclosure happen, they sold the house, and I didn't know that much on it, and there was a amount of money that they said was higher than that. It came from the bank who I had the mortgage with as the lender, and it had the fair value amount on it, and then below it on number 5, they checked yes, and then have me as the borrower. Now, how do I correct that to turn that around?
They sent you a 1099-A?
Yes. They sent me a 1099-A.
If they foreclosed, they should have sent you a 1099-C.
Well, they sent me an A because there was a lot more money left over. It was only a $90,000 mortgage on it, and they sold it for $220,000. And they're sending it to me. I'm kind of thinking that they're trying to do this as a acquisition of a closed account.
That's what they're doing.
Because they got the $220,000.
I apologize. I misunderstood you. That's what they're doing.
Well, how do I turn that around? Do I make up another 1099-A, put their information on it, and my information, do not block that out, then sign the back of it?
I would. Absolutely.
And then I send that back to the bank. No, I send that right back to the treasurer.
Yeah. That's exactly how I'd handle that. You're right there. That's exactly how I'd handle that.
But I wanted to just touch base on that. Okay, and the other question is, you did answer it. Otherwise, let's say I'm going to buy your house from me. Let's say you're going to buy my house. You give me a 1099-A. I accept it. Then I'm responsible doing the other paperwork. The OID.
That's correct. You'll be the trustee in the trust. Okay. I'm buying the house from you. I give you a 1099-A. You'll be the trustee in my trust. And now you'll fill out the rest of the paperwork, the OID, the 96, and the 40B. You'll send that into the Treasury, and then they'll send you the money from my trust.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
one
that's
other thing
how that'll
was
work.
there was something you said earlier. There's a case out in California where a lady put a sign up, no mask required, right? And the county came in and closed it down. They talked to me the other day, and I told them, I said, look, what you want to do is go back in because they're getting ready to close her down. They had 2 days later, they had another court date. They're going to close her down completely. I told them, I said, go on and make them all your fiduciaries. I'm talking everybody in the court. She went and did everybody in the court, the judge, their attorney, everybody, right? And their attorney says, I'm not going to be responsible for you. I said, well, aren't you a public servant? Are you wanting to break the law? And he looks at the judge and says, we need to postpone this.
Yeah.
Because she did it Form 56 and made them all fiduciaries, trustees of the trust action. And they stopped it because everybody's now a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Because they can't rule in their favor. They can't rule in their favor. They have to rule in her favor because the law says a trustee has to put their
or their mouthpiece in an office.
Exactly right.
That's what the conditional acceptance does. The same thing that what you're saying. She biased the court by making them all fiduciaries. You don't necessarily have to go in and do a 56. You can go in and say, you, and you are all fiduciaries. You're all trustees in a fiduciary obligation. This is a trust action. You can do that with any court. And the reason that works is because that's what they know. That's what we did to him. Get him out of my courtroom right now.
Perfect.
So,
and
they don't look, folks. The court. There isn't a court in this whole stinking freaking country that has jurisdiction over you. It doesn't have it. All you have to do is go in and say something like that. Okay, this is a trust action. Y'all are trustees and a fiduciary. So I'm going to do is going to benefit the trust. Same thing with the cop. If you got a license, you go, I don't have a license, but the trust does. Here you go, Mr. Trustee. You're now in a fiduciary obligation. If they do anything that doesn't benefit the trust, they're malfeasing in office. The courts don't have jurisdiction, folks. They do not have it. I don't care if you kill somebody. They do not have that. The reason they don't have that is because we don't have Article III courts anymore.
Right.
That stopped, y'all. The Civil War stopped every bit of that. We haven't had a constitutional government since the Civil War.
I got one.
We haven't been in a republic since the Civil War.
That's for sure, too.
Once you realize that, it's a done deal. And then don't let them move. Do not let the courts move. When you go in there and you challenge their jurisdiction, do not let them move. We didn't let them move. That's why they're in the shape that they're in right now. If we would have allowed them to move, I guarantee you, folks, this would have never went to the Supreme Court. If we would have allowed them to move, this would have never made it to the Supreme Court of Tennessee.
So, Brian, does that answer your question?
I got one more. You talked about a plate on your card. Do you have a? Can you give it to Tad, the location where we get plates for our car too? It was in one of your.
Go to your closest sign shop. Tell them you want a tag made. That's how I did mine.
What would be on it?
Well, what I did, because I had temporary or permanent tags, disabled veteran permanent tag. I scanned the tag on my printer on both sides, and I put them together, and I put paper over the where it said State of Tennessee, and all I did was make a photocopy of my tag, and then I took some things out, and I put private property, no trespassing on it. All right, look, if you want a tag that isn't a state tag, you could go down and get a regular plastic white tag and get some black letters and put private property on it. That's all you really need to do.
Okay, very good. I'm done. Thank you. Thanks you very much.
Okay, so our next person is Alex.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, real good.
Right on. So my question is, I'm one of them guys that did the redemption process. I sent a $100 million bond to the Treasury, and I'm concerned that I may have lost the beneficiary position. Is that possible?
Could you reclaim it? That's what you're saying. You're saying if I lost it, can I reclaim it?
Right.
What I'm saying is yes. And this is why, okay? When when you read in the conditional.
You're breaking up, Chris. Okay, everybody, thank you for waiting. I do have Chris back with us. Chris, you there?
I'm standing out in the out of my office here right now, so I want to get a little closer in case it's our internet putting it on our
all right.
Wi-Fi.
I really appreciate your time, Chris.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging on. Here's the situation.
So did I go ahead?
Yeah, I got you. When you guys do stuff like that and you step out of the beneficiary ship, and you don't know that you're not supposed to be doing that, it's kind of like the judges that if they withhold material information, you get a free ride on that because they done screwed up. You kind of do the same thing. There was a time where I didn't know what a beneficiary was. Never heard the word. Once you become aware of it, it's a different thing. It's a whole different animal. When you become aware of something, when you don't know it, it's kind of like if you live on an island with a bunch of pygmies and they're used to killing each other and eating each other. You don't know that there's anything wrong with it until the missionary comes around and goes, "Hey, man, you're not supposed to kill people and eat them." That's kind of the situation that you're in when you don't understand or have even heard the beneficiary and what it is that you're supposed to do. But see, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah.
So that's the way they're going to play it in the court system. You should know you're a beneficiary. The fact that you don't, we're going to run you over. And once you stand your ground with that, that's where you're at. They fall all apart. That's why I stress that. Look, you hear me say beneficiary all the time because people need to be aware of who they are in this relationship, this commercial trust business entity. And it's when you know that they can't mess around with you anymore. They're done playing. In your situation, I don't know exactly. I read the redemption manual when I was in prison, and I was kind of familiar with it before I went. I understand why people do it. I understand why it's so appealing. There was quite a few inmates I had to talk them off the ledge with that stuff. You don't need to do that. You don't have to do anything to correct your status, but realize what your status is. I am a son of the Most High. I'm an heir to the kingdom of heaven, and here on this planet, I am a beneficiary in this trust action that we all call commerce. Now that you know that, it's a different world for you. So if you've done the $100 million bond thing, and we're about to find out if them things are real or not. We're about to find out.
Chris,
you're either going to know. Yeah, go ahead.
What I did was created a private trust, similar in name to the Cestui Que Trust, right? And then I sent a bond in with my signature titled trustee. So did that collapse the trust? Is there any money? Was it robbed when I did that?
Are you putting money into your Social Security account?
Yeah, I still am
paying
FICA taxes.
You're paying Social Security.
Yes.
You're paying.
Yes, and
you're paying Social Security. Now, okay, here's the sure thing, bro. To answer your question, if the trust was collapsed, you wouldn't be putting money in it right now.
Okay, good.
If it's collapsed, there'd be no place for that money to go. They would be if you collapse the trust, and your job's still taking money and putting it in your Social Security, and you're getting a thing every year saying how much money you put in.
Right,
you know,
and I did
recently. Get if you disabled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the trust is still in place. What you guys got to realize is Social Security is going nowhere. It's going nowhere. Until they can figure out a way to go back onto the gold standard or the silver standard or the you know, some other precious commodity or some other way of backing the dollar, we're going to have the Social Security account. The government can't go into the trust and take the money out. It can't. That's trust fraud. What they can do is use it for collateral. If they're using our trust for collateral, do you think that they're going to take anything out of it? They can't. They can't because it's all collateral. Like if you put collateral up for a loan, they're going to take that collateral and they're going to put it in the bank in some CDs or something until you pay off the loan. So your trust is in place. All you guys that have done that, it's still there. It's not going nowhere.
So
my friend,
what would
my
be
friend? Go ahead.
I'm listening. I was just going to ask, what would be the remedy of rescission of signature to get out of the bond that I don't
think you're going to need to. Stay tuned. Keep watching the videos. I'm about to drop one. I'm about to drop the last two or three that's going to tie all this together for you all. The assignment document and the contract is all you're going to need to do. If you've got that bond, I've already put videos out showing you how to monetize it. And soon you're going to be able to see how to do, if you guys want to learn how to do the assignment document, all you got to do is look up the UCC3 and look at the information that's placed in the UCC3 because that is an assignment document.
Okay.
Yeah. You could take the UCC3, look at the link, and create your own assignment document. You could create your own contracts too. Just be careful with the language. But I'm going to make it a lot easier. I'm going to make it a lot easier because I'm going to explain. I don't know if I'll have time to do it tonight, but I'm definitely going to have it done tomorrow. All that's going to be done. My wife.
Well, the conditional acceptance is the real gold.
Pardon me?
Oh, I was saying the conditional acceptance is the real gold that I want to be able to do rather than monetize the bond.
Well, if you don't want to do that, here's what I would suggest. If you guys are listening and you have bonds, okay, and set on them and let somebody else be the lab rat to see whether it's going to work or not. I blasted. No, I didn't blast it, but I spoke about this yesterday in the video. And the day before. As soon as the word gets out on how to do this, there's going to be a lot of folks that got them bonds, and they're going to monetize them, and they're going to figure out how to do the assignment document, the contract. They're going to send those to the Treasury. And when you do something like that, like I said in the video, in 45 days, if you don't hear from them, you've got a contract, and the bonds are good. If you do this and they send it back to you, because see, they're always going to. If you do something like that, they're not going to just come kick in your door and take you off to jail and all this other stuff. What they're going to do is they're going to send it back to you, and they're going to say, "Look, this is a frivolous filing. Don't do this." They're even going to send you a form letter that they give everybody that files frivolous filing. They're going to tell you not to do this, and then you'll know that they're not any good. You'll know that the guru who sucked you into that bullshit, just took you for some money.
Well, I never went in and sent that bond in any attempt to monetize it. The way I understood it was I was creating a first in line lien so that bonds couldn't be or liens couldn't be created against my the straw man, unless they wanted to pay the $100 million first.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Treasury did
That's
accept
exactly,
it. You know.
Yeah. That's exactly what my friend Ron did. That's exactly what he did. He basically put a lien on his trust for $100 million, or whatever the number was he put, and they sent him a freaking tax bill. He ended up owing, I don't know, 81. I think he did like a $1 billion or $100 billion lien against his trust, and he ended up with an $81 million tax bill. So, yeah, he, I mean, he's not going to pay it, but, you know, what you do is when you guys do this stuff, when you lien your own trust, what you're doing is you're making it hard for you to even use it. You guys that have done these $100 million liens against your trust, and you screwed the trust up for you to use. You guys that are doing the $100 million, have done the $100 million bonds, you may have some trouble doing the 1099As, where you see other people around you that haven't done that are successful with it. You might send the 1099A in or have somebody do it, and it's going to hit your trust, and they're going to go, we can't do shit with this bond. We can't do shit with this because this guy has locked up the account. We can't give him money from his own trust. You may find yourself in the future when you go to retire at 65 and go in there to get benefits, they're going, you can't get any benefits. We can't give you any benefits. We can't into your trust. You've locked it down. I'm not sure. I'm not saying
this is why I want to lift.
Yeah, this. I'm not saying that that's exactly what is going to happen, but it's very feasible. It really messed up Ron.
All right. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Just one quick note. So aside from the 1099A not maybe not working, you think that I can still use the conditional acceptance without a conflict of interest because
common law contract. It's a common law contract.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. That answered it, man. You rock, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay, Mindy. Uh-oh. Oh, crud. Hey, Mindy, hit *6 again, please, on your phone. I hit the wrong button. Hit *6 on your phone, Mindy.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's a fireball.
Go ahead, Mindy.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
So I know that you've kind of answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again because I'm stubborn. But the post office is screwing with people using the certified return receipt mail service.
Yeah.
And it's not just for me doing my conditional acceptances, but I'm kind of, I want to get the post office to knock this shit off and get back to serving us because we're paying for the service. But I have a friend who sent out some notarized legal documents, not conditional acceptances, but the post office has lost his mail, and so he has nowhere to go. But my question to you on this is, I do know for a fact that if you write in a document that in the RE portion, so the name of the person you're writing to and the reason, if you state sent by regular mail and certified return receipt mail, that in a court of law, it is recognized that they have been served, whether or not you get the green card back.
Yeah.
Can I do that in my conditional
Absolutely.
acceptances?
Yeah. Here's how
Okay.
here's what's going on. This is why you're not getting, a lot of people aren't getting green cards back, because they're saying because of COVID that when you send something certified and the people that you send it to sign the green card, they can give you the COVID back. So what they're doing, the post office is doing, is they've quenched the signing and the returning of the green cards through the epidemic. But here's the thing. All you need to do is run that tracking number and then print off the thing from the website that shows that it was delivered. The tracking site.
Except,
yeah, and that's the thing.
What about if they don't accept it? Like there is one dirtbag who is on my list of court-appointed liars. He is not accepting my certified mail.
The post office is already for him.
Say again?
The post office has already accepted it. Okay?
Okay.
The reason that you sent stuff, certified mail, return receipt, is explained in the last part of the postal rule, where it says that offer and acceptance, but because things can be lost in the mail, if you choose not to, accept the responsibility of that being lost, you can send it certified mail, return receipt. Because what happens when you do that is the post office accepts it for them.
Got it. But, so can I still send them regular mail? Should I send that conditional acceptance regular mail?
You could if you want, but you've already served them, and you've got common law contract. That just the fact that it was stamped at the post office, that they received it. As soon as they stamp that little white paper and give it to you, mm-hmm. It's a contract. One of the child support referees that I served, the whole packet came back. It came right back unopened, and the green card was still stuck on the packet that I sent, and I talked to Gary about it. I said, well, what about her? I can't do her, right? He said, no, read the postal roll. She accepted it. The post office accepted it for her on her behalf.
Okay.
They are the agent.
So if I can interject, the IRS, what they do is they send it certified and through a regular envelope.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
I can send two, but one of them I'm not going to get original notarized for both. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to spend $20 for two notarized to go into the same person.
Who's charging you to notarize? Who's charging you to notarize?
Because my bank won't give me notary services.
What?
Yeah. I was rejected when I tried to get my affidavit of fact and status notarized at my credit union. The woman took the documents and showed her boss and came back out and said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to notarize these.
I would only took her look, when you go to get something notarized, the only thing you got to take is the page you want to have notarized. So
okay.
When you want to have a notarized, okay, you can take the last part, the avouchment, right, and where you sign it. Put that on one piece of paper and then set it up for a notary to sign it.
Okay.
And all they're doing all a notary public is doing is witnessing your signature.
Right.
That's why, look, you don't have to take, say you're going to do 6 conditional acceptances and you're serving 2 attorney generals. and your document's 40 pages long. You're not going to take all those in there. You don't need to. All you need to do is take that last page. And then they don't need to know. They don't need to know what you're doing.
Well, that's what
do is witness and take.
No.
They'll do is they'll take photocopies of what you signed. They will do that, and they put it on the record that I witnessed this. You got one, and I got one. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, she discriminated against me, so
be able to go to any lawyer's office, and notary publics generally don't charge you.
They do if they're not with a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Oregon they can charge $10.
I do have one other quick question. Because, Chris, I'm trying to teach people about their Social Security trust. I'm having a problem convincing people that this is real. You know that I was charged bail when I was arrested at for the trespass 2 at the grocery store. Now my question is, how can I find the penal bond on my case?
Go in there and demand it. Go in there and demand it. That's that simple. Go in there and say, it's a municipal court, right? So it's a corporate court. You go in there and you say, is this a municipal court? Well, yes, it is. Okay, well then you're a municipality is a corporation, correct? Yes, it is. Okay, so this is really a commercial transaction. Is there any commercial transactions going on here? Was there a bond created? There was? Okay, well, was there any more than that? Because they're going to say, your bail bond. Well, that's just one. That's just one bond. Okay, is there any more? Is there any other more bonds that I don't know about that you do? Because there are. Put them in a position where they have to answer that. And, well, no, wait a minute. If they say, no, there's only one bond. That's the bail bond. Say, are you sure? Are you sure there's not any penal bonds that are created? Let's talk about some penal bonds. Is there any? And put them in the spot where they have to answer. And if they say, yes, there is, say, okay, I need to know because you're using my Social Security account that I'm the beneficiary of. You heard it tonight. Guy was talking about going in there and doing a 56. Okay, everybody's trustee. You couldn't get away with some shit like that if it wasn't a trust action. That's why that worked. Because they went in and said, okay, everybody's a trustee. Well, okay, I guess we're all trustees now. You know what I mean? We got to recuse ourselves because we're all trustees. That's because they know it's a trust action. The minute you say, is my Social Security number attached to this case in any way, shape, or form? If it is, then it's a trust action. And commerce is taking place. I can't remember what it is right offhand. I have to do a lot of digging through a bunch of old notes to do it. But there's an actual, I think it took place in the 70s, a federal a CRF that states that all banks and courts are now underneath the UCC. All banks and courts are underneath. Why would they have to say courts? We know banks are commercial. Muslims got them in their name. Why would they have to say that a court is commercial too and falls underneath the UCC guidelines? Because they're commerce, they're commercial courts. All crimes are commercial crimes.
Right.
All of them.
Just one last quickie. Should I send this public records request via the email to the courthouse with my question? And that's it.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to get anything back. it's always best to do stuff in person. People will say, well, do I have to do this challenge of jurisdiction by a writ, a challenge of jurisdiction writ? No. Because anytime you put a writ into the record, you're moving the court. You're asking the court to do something.
Okay.
By way of paper. No, challenge of jurisdictions are always in person. Always.
Okay. Thank you,
go
Chris.
In there, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So let's see. Thanks, Mindy. Frisco, Texas.
Hi, Chris. Actually, my husband wrote for me the questions because he can't be here today, and I just started watching your video. So, but his question is about, he wants more information about how to free prisoners. He says, please go into more detail. This is needed so much. I don't know if you want to know. It's kind of a situation like it's corruption, and the bond was no reason for this person to be in jail, and the bond that the judge, the corrupt judge, decided is like hundreds of thousands. And so his question was one about how to free the prisoners, and I remember him mentioning about is there a form that we can use to pay this bond and release this person, and then this person can start fighting, because they are, even the habeas corpus was ignored, then was sent, I think, to the Supreme Court, but we are having a hard time because the judges are not doing what they are supposed to do. I imagine this kind of situation.
They're all crooks.
Right?
Yeah,
they never
do. They're crooks. What we're doing right now, I've had some really positive. I got a really positive email here just not too long ago, based on what we're trying to do with these bonds. The penal bonds are created for every case, and then you're held as collateral. Your husband or whatever is being held as collateral for those bonds till they mature. What we're doing is we're going after the bonds, like I was telling Mindy. Go in there and demand the bond numbers, especially seeing how this is just now getting started in her case. You can always challenge the jurisdiction, even after you've been sentenced and released. You can always challenge the jurisdiction, and that's probably the HABE that you're working on, the habeas corpus that they're ignoring. That does happen. It sure does. But the bonds that we're going after, it's meticulous. It really is. You have to. There's a lot of steps that you have to go through, and we're still refining those. But we're really close. Some courts you can go to and do a Freedom of Information Act and get them to release the bond numbers or tell you what the bond numbers are. Some are going to refuse it. They're going to actually break the law and refuse the Freedom of Information Act documents that you'll send them for that. But then you go through the DTC, which is a depository trust company in New York, and that's where you go after it. That's going to take time. Because they got a lot of stuff that they're doing, and you get put at the bottom of the stack, and you get worked your way up. So that's going to take some time. My guy that's in there right now is waiting on his response because the court refused to release the bond numbers. Here's what happens, folks: when when you go after the bonds aren't supposed to mature until your sentence is up. But what we're doing is we're going to go after the bonds. We're going to get the bonds, and then we're going to discharge the bonds. And once the bonds are discharged, and they're discharged prematurely, they have to go back to the court of original jurisdiction, or where they were created at. Once they hit there, and now all of a sudden you've got millions of dollars that you're responsible for, or the court is responsible for. So what they're going to do is they're going to abandon the bonds once you discharge them. They're going to abandon them because they're not going to want to pay for them. They're going to abandon them like a house. And what we're doing is like squatters' rights. We're going in there with 1099A. Most folks are going to use it for acquisition. We're going in there and using it for abandonment. And we're going to file on the abandonment part of it. And because we've discharged the bond, it being abandoned, it comes to us as money. That's the process that we're working on. And it's complicated. It really is. And we're tweaking it. The same thing with the on-ledger and off-ledger account of the trust at 65. A bunch of people have asked me, well, how do you go about that? Well, I can give you the gist of it, and you could try it, but I'm trying to work out the fine things of it so that it'll be effective. If I tell you all how to go do it, and you go do it and you mess it up, it's going to make it harder for me to do it once I've got it tweaked and go in there. So I kind of don't want to release that information, but the bond stuff, I'm telling you all, as soon as I get this packed up and packaged, it would be something that a guru would want to sell for a lot of money. I'm not going to. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it out there and let everybody get it. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. He's a brown man. And I was telling him 78% of the people that are locked up are black. But they're only 13% of the population. And if this goes down like it's going to, there's going to be a lot of rich black men. There's going to be a lot of rich black men.
Okay, so, ma'am, does that answer your question?
Actually, I'm not sure. Let me just maybe clarify to see if, because the situation is not a situation of this person is being accused of a crime or a situation that they are trying to find a crime to accuse. Was simply a very corrupt judge and some people with him that were interested in this man's property. Really interested in his property. So they threw him in jail with with a crazy bond and for life, for no reason, unless he pays that. And his family, the people, they don't have the money to pay. We don't even know this person, actually. Someone reached to us to ask for help for this person. So, I don't know, because that's the problem about the jurisdiction, and what I'm trying to say, I don't know much, I don't know actually anything, but the jurisdiction is because there's no charging. They're not he's not charged of anything. They threw him there, and they did a quick closed-the-door sale of the property, like alleging abandonment of property, like one day later or two. So I don't know. I don't think the jurisdiction would fit in this case. So the idea is about the bond.
It'd be hard to challenge jurisdiction when there's no charge and there's no jurisdiction.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all kind of crazy. But that's the corruption that we deal with in this government and these governments. And it isn't just in yours, it's in every one. They're doing this everywhere. And it's not going to stop until we, the people, get a hold of their short curlies and give it a good twist. We're going to have to start hanging folks. Yeah. That's the only way that I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to have to make some examples of these folks. I don't mean literally. Yes, I do mean literally. I think we should. I think we should make examples of these people. We have to get control of this, and And the only way to do it is get the word out. There's way more people out there that are judgmental of what I've done and what I've said than there are that are supportive. And there are hundreds of supportive people, thousands of supportive people. But there's people that will not give, oh, this is my good country, man. This is the country I love, and, all this other crap. And they don't even realize what's going on. There's a lot of people that are asleep. We need to be alarm clocks. We need to get out here.
Yeah.
People are going to look at us like we're crazy. But, and they have been, folks. I'm telling you, people in my community looked at me crazy for the last 25 years. And they still don't get it.
So we do have more.
Yeah, the same
we do
here.
have more people that have their hand raised. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Tell your husband that he needs to get the bonds. He needs to go after the bonds. Do a Freedom of Information Act and demand the bonds. That's the first step.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Hudson, you're next. Phone on mute. It's your turn.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. My question might have been answered. I have been working with DTSS, and I believe that I did the whole bond paper, mailed it off to the not mailed, but sent it off, registered mail to the Secretary of Treasury of Puerto Rico. Is that the redemption process? Because I've never heard of that. I'm kind of ignorant of that process as of now.
Well, it's been packaged as many different things, but it's basically the same process. A lot of these gurus have twisted it around to meet what they wanted to, but it sounds like it. It really does. I really feel. I would like to see that this be true. Believe me, folks, I really would. I'd like to see all these people turn these bonds into cash money. But it doesn't. There's been very few people that I've talked to, very few people that I've talked to that said, well, yeah, I've used this to offset some medical bills and pay off a few credit cards and, I don't, if it was really good and it was really juicy, man, people would be wanting it like crazy. And people would be using it like crazy. I don't know. I've done some research into what it is that you're talking about, and I never got enough confidence in it to even try it. When I got to prison, I read the redemption manual, the first 4 manuals, and I don't subscribe to it. I don't. I wish that it does. I hope it does work, and sounds like that's what you've done. I don't know what was the name of your process.
It's called the program is called DTSS, and I went as far as like I said, assigning the Secretary of Treasury of Puerto Rico. I sent the packet with my bond paper and the fiduciary paperwork, and I believe I have, from what I was reading. I read it over because I started this back in 2019, and I went through the process as far as I did the UCC one. I got my passport card, and I actually, got my driver's license with I put the trust my driver's license in the trust. And so, they call us, over and over, trustees, and and I'm just now finding out about beneficiary side of it. So I emailed the program people about if I could use the 1099A for the program fees, dues. So I'm waiting to hear back from that. Other than that, we just have the discharge benefit available for us.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something. Have you benefited from this program?
I would say yes. It hasn't been, the only downside that I don't like about it is the starting over with the credit, building up because you get a separate EIN, I think, EIN or E10, whatever that number is for the Treasury. For the trust, for the trust accounts. That's the biggest downside factor of it that I see.
So what's
that I have experienced.
What's the greatest?
But
what's the greatest benefit that you've gotten from it? What's the greatest benefit?
The turnaround rate, they're all automated. Everything is automated as far as paperwork. They do all of that for you. You do have to mail in all your paperwork. They give you a good breakdown of instructions on what to do, and it's pretty precise. A lot of information, some of the information I found was kind of outdated, as far as applying for a trust, a credit card, because so much has changed as far as the banking laws and regulations and stuff like that. But as far as the automation process,
how much money do you benefit annually?
What do you mean? How much do I pay? No, I haven't.
How much do you think you're saving in a year by doing this process?
Well, I haven't saved anything because I haven't done the discharge yet. I haven't started the discharge process yet. Yeah, I haven't did any of that yet. I just did all the paperwork, all the, status corrections, the passport documentation. So I haven't saved anything,
Okay, so so we do have some other people that are waiting, so we have to move on.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Lucy, you're next. Your phone just unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi. How are you? Thank you for taking
my
call. I do have. I'm listening to the calls prior to me, and I do have one or two questions regarding what you shared in the beginning of your call, Chris, and that had to do with the older lady who filed the 1cc to put the $1 million lien on her property.
Yeah, I just suggested she do that. She hadn't done it yet, but I just suggested that's a quick Band-Aid. If you do something like that, that will buy. If you're in a pinch with a foreclosure and they're about to move on you, if you do a UCC, what that's going to do, the UCC one, for $1 million, what that's going to do is it's going to buy you some time to do the conditional acceptance. Once you do this to the judges, say you got a foreclosure hearing that you got to go to, and you do the lien, and then you're going to go in there and you're going to say, wait a minute, this thing, I just did this property owes me $1 million, and what they're going to do is they're going to put it off. They're going to reschedule the hearing. That's going to buy you some time. And in that time you have would be the best time to go and do the conditional acceptance. You're going to serve one on the mortgage company. You're going to serve one on the mortgage company's attorney. You're going to serve one on the court, the judge, the clerk, everybody that's involved in this process. And by doing so, you'll bias them. How are you going to foreclose on me when you owe me money?
Right.
That's why I suggested when a quick bind needs something right away. They need a little pressure on the wound to stop the bleeding. Then later on we can stitch this thing up. That's what I suggest. Do it.
Okay.
Because
well, that's going to be my plan B.
Yeah. If you do that, then that stops it. They're going to have to stop, and they're going to try and figure out some other way of getting around that. And meanwhile, you're slamming them you're hitting them with the conditional acceptance. That locks them down. They can't do anything. And by doing that, you can also remove it. Once you do conditional acceptance and you beat them, you go in and you have it removed. Or leave it on there because you won't have to move it until you sell it. Or 5 days. Or not 5 days. In 5 years, it automatically, UCC1 automatically comes off. So the UCC1 isn't the lien. Okay? It's not a lien. The UCC1 is not a lien. People seem to think that, but it's not. It's a notice of claim. It means that there's some kind of debt that is owed. And it's a notice to public is. So that's what you're doing. You're not actually liening your house. You're putting a notice to claim a lien. This house owes me some money. I've lived in this house and I took care of this house, and my time is worth, is worth a lot. I've kept it up. I've fixed the roof and everything I've done, and set your hourly rate for what you're doing. Oh yeah, it owes me $1 million. This house owes me $1 million. You'll stop or slow down. I should say, be a better word, the foreclosure process, and give yourself time. The reason I suggest this is people are, they wait till the 11th hour. Hey man, can you help me out? It's the only thing I can think of to do right away. You can go on. Any one of y'all that's in a foreclosure situation right now can take your credit card and go online to your state's Secretary of the State's office, do a UCC1, and within an hour or two, you'll have a document from the UCC1 that claims that property owes you. And that's the quickest way to stop these jokers from moving.
Okay.
So
my question that pertains to me, sadly, I've been enthralled in the court battle with custody, and they took away my child with no evidence, no claim, no proof of anything, and they handed her over to her father, who had not been in my life for 15 years. She didn't even know him. So I've been trying to fight in court. I was going to submit a challenging jurisdiction, but after hearing what you're sharing in the prior calls, that I should always challenge jurisdiction, I guess, in front of them. I was wondering about submitting the 54F form, and if I'm going to do that, should I do it on the day or should I mail it to them prior?
What did you say, the 54F?
It's the new form, the 56F form. That's the updated form from Form 56.
You can do that, or you can just walk in there the day of it and say, this is a trust action. Matter of fact, they didn't steal. They didn't take your daughter and give her to her father. They took her trust and gave her trust to her father. She's sitting there as collateral. The father is jail. The father's the state custody. And they're holding her as collateral. He's holding her as collateral, or she's being held as collateral. It's a trust action. I guarantee you that the courts have taken her daughter's trust number, her Social Security account, and they've moved. In a divorce, in a custody battle, in a divorce, each parent has to hire an attorney, and then they have to hire what's called a guardian ad litem. And that is a lawyer that's separate from the two lawyers that acts as a lawyer for the child. And I guarantee you that child's Social Security number is handed over to that lawyer. Everything's a trust action. That's why
I thought
you
it was
can go
interesting.
in there and do that.
Yeah, they actually call her a best interest attorney, and they gave her all the power. And not even at the time, I had an attorney, which I fired him, and I've been doing everything on my own. And they kept saying she's got more power than anyone. And I'm like, I don't care. She hasn't done anything for me or best interest of the child. So what I did yesterday, I actually started something. I sent them a certified letter, a violation warning, and a cease and desist, a formal letter, which I'm going to post on your Telegram channel for people. And it is the 18 U.S.C. 242, 18 U.S.C. 241 in there, and it's a cease and desist letter, and that's going to be part of me going after them for what they've done. I've also put together 2 conditional acceptance, not in the format that you have, and they've disregarded them.
Yeah. Yeah, try sending them one in the format that I sent you.
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
So
I've read a lot of conditional acceptances, and people aren't even putting conditions in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try to tell everybody format them.
Yeah. Mine was, I want to say, compared to yours, yours is a lot lengthier, but mine had a caveat, and it explicitly said that if you don't respond to this, you don't have subject matter jurisdiction, and you're in default. And I put a set value. I had an added value and everything, and they ignored it. I mean, they didn't ignore it. The second one, actually, the attorney, because I submitted it in the court on the record, and the attorney responded to it, but he defaulted because he said he wasn't going to accept it. But still, I want my daughter back, and this 56F form seems to stop everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You could carry it in there with you. Submit it the day of, or try it the day before. I've heard of this form and this process. I've heard of it multiple times. And here's what I say about what I would do. I'm always game to try something. I will be the first one to stick my neck out because it's trial and error. It really is. Try this, and if it don't work, hey man, try that. That's the thing about people that are that they don't care to get out here and do something that nobody else has done. I'll be the first. That's what a 3%er is. They're willing to fight, and I wish you well. I really do. Share whatever you can. Whatever you find that seems to work, definitely share it on that channel.
I've been trying to do that. I found you, by the way. Don't take this personally, but I became obsessed with your videos, and I found you on Friday, and as of today, I'm done watching your videos. I watched every single one of them. I see very clearly what your position is and what the reality is. And I've been awake. I just found the information. I'm going to run with it. But I do want to mention that that my ex, and I call him the wackadoodle attorney, they filed a contempt motion on me to arrest me and put me in jail. I am concerned, because I don't have a lot of people here supporting me. They were looking to arrest me when I was in court last time, and I do suspect that if I step foot in that courtroom, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they may. That's you can't be held in contempt of court if you don't give them jurisdiction. That's important. Don't give them jurisdiction, and probably already have. For one, you hired an attorney and then fired an attorney, and you're acting as if you are yourself. If you're going to go in there, if you're going to go in there and do the 56F, go in there, and as soon as you do that, also challenge the jurisdiction.
I've been challenged.
Verbally challenge it.
Okay. I've been challenging it
Tell them
since
that
September.
You're appearing in propria persona.
Okay,
That'll
I've
really
been
scare
appearing
the hell out of
special
them.
appearance.
Appoint them all as trustees, and then tell them you are here. I am here in propria persona, and yeah. The problem here's the problem with. Yeah, go ahead.
I did that when I went to court on my trial. And when I told the judge that I was the beneficiary and I pointed at him and I said, and you're the trustee, he started screaming at me and yelling at me.
Yeah.
And they had a big, beefy, tall, monstrous woman literally sitting next to me, intimidating me, rubbing up against me in my face. And I this is the first time I've been challenged this way. And I just said, I got to kind of lay low, be a little timid here, because if I get arrested, nobody's going to know that I'm arrested.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean...
Well, it takes a lot to anger a judge. Consider that. If they got pissed off because you made them trustee, if there wasn't any salt in there, why would they get mad?
Yeah.
You were going the right way. What you should have done is really poured it on at that point. Listen here, you big burly bitch. Get off of me right now. Touch me one more time. Rub your big ass. And I'm going to charge you with salt. Step off. You know what I mean? Yeah. Pour it on. Once I see that I got him, my grandma back in the 70s, I'll never forget it. She said, son, whenever you're having an argument with someone, if they start yelling and their face turns red before you start yelling and your face turns red, he doesn't won. He doesn't won the argument.
Yes.
And I've remembered that ever since. When you get upset, you've lost the argument. And when you said that to that judge, he got upset and started yelling at you. I would say it's pretty obvious that you agree with me, or you wouldn't be so mad.
So how do you enforce it?
That's the thing. How do I enforce something?
When you see that you got them against the ropes, you don't stop pounding on them. That's when you start hitting them harder. I know that jail is scary, man. It is scary. Jail can be really frightening. But I would rather be scared and be right than be took advantage of. I would rather be scared and be right and know that I'm right. Because in the end, you have to remember, good sister, you are a daughter of the Most High. When you go in there, you're going in there with the Creator of the universe. That's where you'll find your strength from. And if you don't know what to say, pray. Hey, Heavenly Father, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to open up my mouth and you speak for me. And believe me, when I say this, you will find an inner strength in you that you've never known before when you do this. And when you leave, you'll be laughing. You'll be laughing. It's the Father will move on them like a torrential downpour, and you'll see something in them, and they'll show it to the rest. I hate it, man. I hate it that there's such a struggle in our society, and they're playing our kids.
Oh yeah.
They're playing our kids into this, and if your husband or your daughter's father actually cared about her, you guys wouldn't even be going through this stuff right now.
I know he's not well, and unfortunately, he's not a well person, and I haven't heard from her. They purposely have kept her from me. But putting that aside, I do want to share with you your comment about I am the child of the Most Highest. When I was in the courtroom before I was badgered one last time, I said exactly similar words what you said, and I said, "For the grace of God, please give me a Hail Mary." I kid you not. All of a sudden, the room, the emergency alarm went off, and there were lights shining everywhere in the room, and people were like, "What's going on? What happened?" I think that was them telling me that I'm here. It was the strangest thing, but he's there and he's listening, and I just wanted to share that with you, and I
appreciate it. Take him with you everywhere you go. You will not take him with you everywhere you go. You will not be defeated.
But I'm gonna provide an update, and I'm gonna submit that form on Telegram so people can have a copy of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Share with us your triumphs and your downfalls.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Fayetteville, Arkansas, you're next. Your phone just unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to discuss with Chris that the court put my CA on the record of the case. Is that going to be an issue or a problem, or is that in my favor?
They put your conditional acceptance on the record?
Yes, they filed it into the case.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. They're all trustees now.
Yes, the docket entry said trustees, Judge so-and-so, Judge so-and-so, Judge so-and-so, and clerk so-and-so.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Here's how you need to go in there now. Do not make any decisions. Go in there and tell them, I'm glad you all have recognized that this is a trust action that I'm the beneficiary of. Now, inform me, trustees, of what it is you intend to do to benefit the trust.
Right.
Because at that point, they've got to do what's right. They've got to do, so you here to pay some stuff to me? How am I going to benefit? Is charging me with some fines or something like that, is that beneficial? Don't tell them what they need to do. Question them to the point where they have to tell you what they're going to do and how it's going to benefit you. Now, is that going to benefit me? You'll be saying that a lot. That's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Now there's a conflict of interest on the record.
Yeah. Y'all are working for me now, so what is it you're going to do to benefit me? Yeah, man. Keep me informed. Keep me informed how that goes, okay?
I go to court on Monday.
Fantastic. Hey, get back on here next Thursday and let us know how it went, okay?
Oh,
but
okay,
remember, you're in charge.
Right.
You got them by the short curlies, buddy. Thanks for saying that.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Let's see here.
That's way cool.
Hartrid H. Your phone unmuted. You're next.
Hey, Chris and Tad. Thanks, guys, for doing this and hanging out with us for so long. My name is actually Heather. I've been under my husband's account for a while. Sorry. I'm going to rapid fire these, Chris, and you can answer them in whatever way you'd like. But first, I have a request from Bill Rigby from the Conditional Acceptance Group. He would love a copy of the Lions Conditional Acceptance that you've been reading from on your videos. And so would a lot of us.
Yeah, okay.
All
right.
I told him I thought you said you were working on it. What's that?
Yeah, I shared my child support one on all three of them last night. The claim of lien on there too. But
I caught those. Thank you.
I'll get Ron's. I've got a scanning thing on my phone now, and I figured out how to use it pretty good. So I'm going to get Ron's. I'll get Ron's on there. I'll get a couple other ones.
Excellent. All right, so here we go. Here's my.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm trying to wrap it up for you so that I don't take up too much time.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question, you've mentioned homeschool registration and how you didn't register your kids. Now, we've been homeschooling our daughter for several years now, and we have to register to homeschool every year. Do I just not do it? And how do I need to do a conditional acceptance if they come after me? Or I don't want to invite trouble where there isn't any, but I don't want to have her have to go to mandatory bubble testing.
Okay.
I don't teach her that way. Second one.
You don't have to do that.
Second one is marriage license. You had mentioned that before, how you and your wife, you resolved your signature on your marriage license?
Hold on. Let's do one at a time.
Sorry.
Let's ask a question, answer it, then we'll go on to the next.
Okay.
All right.
Here's what you do. You don't have to register in your local school system if you register in an outside agency. We go through Lighthouse. There's all different kinds of homeschool organizations out there that you can sign up with them. I think we pay $180 a year for both of our children. You can sign up with them, and you will totally cut the state completely out of anything that you have to do. Most of them have teams of lawyers. So the minute your school system wants to buck you at all, these guys will move in with some lawyers. And it'll stop that really quick. It's well worth the money. My children don't do any of that testing.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's
appreciate that a lot.
Okay, next one.
Okay. Marriage license. You talked about resignation of your signature on your marriage license so it disentangles the trust. And then I was asking about it in the main group, and somebody had mentioned something about securities that get made on your marriage license. And so I'm really confused about it, but my husband and I do want to do that just so our trusts are not entangled. So, whatever I do isn't going to come back on him. Whatever he does isn't going to come back on me, that type of thing.
That's right. It's the trust that are married. When you rescind the signatures, it separates them. It's the same thing you do in a divorce. You got to go to the judge.
So
and the judge has got to. Yeah.
Just send it to my municipal court then and have it put on file, or do I need to do public notice? I'm not sure the process. I'm sorry.
You just rescind. You send a letter, a rescission letter, rescinding the signature on the marriage license, and you send it to the state's vital statistics. That's all you got to do, and they will send you back a document, a rescission document that will show that the license has been rescinded. It's
and
simple,
you said send it to the
crazy.
state what?
The vital
send it to the state what? Okay, thank you.
State's vital
all right. I got it. Thank you so much, vital statistics. All right, so And the other question I had for you is, you talked about claiming your accounts once they're closed down, within 2 months period. And I'm wondering, because I'm fixing to cancel my student debt, and then I'm fixing to try and claim that money. Now, I don't know, do I have to go in person and endorse that, because it's out of state? The new lender is out of state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to wherever the bank is at and tell them you're there to close the account. They're going to bullshit you around. What do you mean? It's already closed. No. They're going to BS you around. When you go down there and you say, I'm here to close the account, they're going to BS you around. Well, wait a minute, it's already closed. You didn't pay for everything. No, I'm here to settle the account and close it.
Settle and close.
It's time for you. Yeah. And that's how that works.
Sorry, I'm taking notes. Okay, so I need to find out what bank the lenders use?
Find out what bank find out what, well, you got the account number, right?
I will as soon as, I got to call and ask them for a statement. And then I'm going to send them a nice letter and a 1099-A. And Bill's been helping me with my letter, so I have it all right and ready. So I can get everything sent out once I get my, the funds to do the certified mail and have everything done right.
Yeah, within 60 days. Within 60 days, go to that bank with that account number and go, the account's closed. I'm here to or the account is settled. I'm here to close the account. And I'm here. Fix the check. What do you mean? You already paid for it. No. You know what I mean. Because they're going to play you. They're going to play you. They're going to try to.
Oh, they're not going to play me. All right, this is my final question.
Okay.
I did 10 years in prison several years back. Did it suck my trust dry? Because you know how they do. It's thousands a day.
It didn't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. If not 5,000 a day. It's not going to suck it dry because the government is so gracious to refill it. But they can't. They can't. They're going to pull it right from the thin air and put it in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they do. They audit the account. Your commissary was a trust fund. How do you get?
So do I have any? Do I have any recourse to reclaim any of that money? I mean, we're talking over 10 years. It's been 12 years since I was incarcerated. I didn't know. That's how I got sucked up into student loans. It was a requirement of my parole. I came out in Obama's recession, and it was literally extortion and threat of going back to prison for 5 more years if I didn't have a provable income on paper, and college was the only way because nobody would hire me because how long I was incarcerated, and there were no jobs. So.
Yeah. So would you say go back to the court and demand the bonds?
I would.
Okay.
I'd go back to the court. Say, I want the bonds. All right. Are you at this point? If the bonds, is your time up?
Oh yeah, I've been home for 12 years. Yes.
Okay.
I've been home for 12 years. I've been off school for 7.
The bonds are already matured. Get the bond numbers, and then what you can do is demand the royalties from them.
So then I need to send to the state that all this happened in and demand the bond numbers for like the Privacy Act, or what is it, the Freedom of Information Act?
Go to the court. Go to the court where they originated and demand the bond numbers using a FOIA request.
All right.
And if they refuse to give them to you, go to the DTC. Once you get the bond numbers, you can go back to the Security and Exchange Commission and tell them you want the royalties from the bonds. They used your trust to make money. They owe you royalties. That's where you get it back.
Royalties from the bond, you said. Now, can I ask a follow-up real quick? I also, while I was incarcerated, I transferred state prisons from the state that the charge happened in to the state that that I was born in, you know, so I could come home. Do I do both states or just the state where everything originated?
Just the state where they originated, the bonds originated from.
Okay.
The original court.
All right. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 people in line. We're not going to get to everybody. Why don't we take one more, Chris, and then we'll call it good.
Okay.
I mean, we could be here all night, but you know, this is not an all-night kind of deal.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Madhu, you're next when your phone unmutes.
Hi, hello?
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, it's actually, my name is Sahal. It's a different name on the account.
Okay, well.
All right, so I have a question regarding the 1099 OID. I was watching your videos on how you fill your explanation on, but when I was reading the instructions, it says hold on 1 second. In box 1, it says, for the instructions of box 1, it says do not include the amount in box 8. And on box 8, it says do not include the amount in box 1.
Box 8, box 1?
Yeah, box 1 and box 8.
Okay.
It says do not include the amount in box 1 and box 8. Vice versa.
On the OIDs, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, you're doing the OIDs. So you're the trustee, right?
Yeah, if I were to be the trustee.
Okay, if you were to be the trustee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's saying don't. You're not supposed to put an 8 and 1.
So it says for the instructions in box 1, do not include the amount in box 8, and then for the instructions of box 8, it says do not include the amount in box 1.
Yeah. This is what you're going to use on that whole right side is box.
Oh, you're breaking up, Chris.
Okay. All the other ones are going to be empty.
Sorry, could you repeat that? It just cut out.
On the OIDs. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me all right? On the OIDs, the only boxes on the right side of the document that you're going to have amounts in is going to be box 1 and box 4. Okay? And then you're going to have box 7, which is going to be the description. So you're not going to have box 1 and box 8 at the same time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what you're reading in the description. You're not going to use those. Those are the only two boxes that you're going to put dollar amounts in.
Okay, so on box 8 and box 1, what amounts would we be putting in there?
You're not going to put anything in there.
Yeah.
Box 1 is the amount. Like when you seen mine, on my 1099A, right? You seen $4 million in box 2 and box 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the OIDs, you're going to see $4 million in my OIDs. You're going to see $4 million in box 1, and you're also going to see it in box 4. Box 8 is going to be left blank.
Okay, so gotcha.
right? Box 8 is original issue or OID on the U.S. Treasury obligation. That's going to be blank because the Treasury isn't responsible. They don't have the obligation on the OID. The money's coming from your trust, not the Treasury. The Treasury's got their own trust account. It's Social Security account. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Cleared up a lot. Thank you. Also on the 1096 instructions, it says file the 1096 separately per form. I see on your explanation, you cross down 2 boxes on the same form. But when I was reading the instructions, it says to use them separately.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've had this question before. In the 96, it says that you're only supposed to do 1 box.
Yeah.
You're only supposed to check 1 box for a document.
Mm-hmm.
And mine's got 2. Well, the one I got in my contract, right? The 96 that I have in my contract's only got 1 box, and that's the 1099A, right? And then I got another one for the 90. I got another one for the OID. The one that you see in the video was for a different thing, and we sent those in. That OID was sent in with 2 boxes checked, and the nothing was returned. Okay. If you guys are going to see when you start doing this stuff, when you're doing the conditional acceptance, you're going to see that the contract, when I get the contract information out, you guys are going to see where you're going to give them the contract, and in the contract it's going to have some language, basically it's going to say that I give this to you, and if there's anything wrong with it, you have my power of attorney to make any corrections necessary.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So anything you guys screw up, you're covered under this. It'll be your umbrella. When you read the information in the contract, you're going to see that they're going to fix whatever's screwed up. Or they're going to send it back to you and tell you what's screwed up so that you can fix it. More than likely, they're going to fix it. Because if they tell you, if they send it back to you and say, well, you got to do this, this, and that, they're letting you in on their secrets. It's better for them to correct it with your power of attorney than to give the information out.
Yeah, true. Makes sense.
So when you see my 96, it was checked. There was 2 boxes that were checked. We send it all together, and they accept it. Whether you do this stuff right or wrong, the language in the contract is going to take care of little ticks like that. And you guys will see that by Sunday. Everybody's going to have contracts, what the contracts looks like, the language that's used, and the assignment document and all that. I was going to get at it today, but it didn't happen, so I apologize. It's going to be out, though. I'll have it by Sunday. All y'all will be talking over these documents and how you can use them for yourself. And you can modify them, okay? You can take this contract that I'm going to teach y'all how to do, like you're doing with the conditional acceptance, and you can modify it. You will definitely be modifying it if you're doing the $100 million bonds.
Yeah. Okay, so
what was that, Ted?
Did that answer your question, sir?
I just got two more questions. So when we handle the 1099A, right, does the trustee have to give us back the B copy, or do we keep it ourselves, or do we wait for the Treasury to send it back to us? How does that part work?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. When you do the 1099A, all you're going to do is fill it out and sign it, and then you're going to hand the whole thing to the trustee. The trustee is going to send the whole thing to the Treasury, and the Treasury is going to return copy B to you. That's how you're going to know that the Treasury is paid.
Perfect.
When you get the copy B back. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, sorry. Yeah, you touched on this earlier. You mentioned about. My question was basically if someone were to get a direct deposit instead of a check from the Treasury, how would they go about it? And you touched on it. You said something about going to a notary and having them assigned to.
Okay, I'll explain that again. Oh. When the trustee gets the 1099A, does the OID, the 96, and the 40B, you can also type up a letter, basically to whom it may concern at the Treasury. It is my wish that you deposit this, the funds or the credits, however you want to word it, into this bank routing number and this account number. And because that's how they do direct deposit if you get disability check or when you get your income tax return. You're basically going to be sending a letter giving them permission to wire transfer that money instead of write a check and send it to you. But I would suggest that you go out and you open up a beneficiary account and get that account open so that when that money does come in, nobody messes with it, not even the bank.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. That answers all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you calling, brother.
Okay, so I, like everybody else, have telephone ear. I'm going to say we call it an evening, but you guys, please go to my website, youhavetheright.com, sign up on the email list, join our email list so we can send out notices to you guys so you don't miss these calls. You can pass them on to other people. The Telegram, it's a good place to put it, but there's so many messages. There's a lot of people that are missing it, and I know because the other call system we had last night sent me a message saying there was a whole bunch of people on that call because they didn't get the message. So if you would, please join our mailing list. If you have joined it, we're having some technical issues at the moment, and you may have to join again. So, but in the meantime, go to youhavetheright.com, join our mailing list. That's really important so you can get updates. We've had some problems. We've had to move to a new server, and we're still having some lingering problems, especially with mass email. But once we get that figured out, then we'll have our mailing list up again, and you guys will be notified. So, okay, Chris, thank you very much. This has been very productive, and we'll see you guys again next week. Good night.
All right, Chad. Hey, give him my phone number.
Hold on. I'll call you right back.